Did you know that there are adverse childhood experiences that can take up to 20 years off of your life? I'm Dr. Jen, and I help people understand trauma so they can transform their lives. In today's video, we're talking about adverse childhood experiences. So, what are these adverse childhood experiences? Well, there's basically 10 things that we're looking at here, okay? And they're broken up into 3 different categories: abuse, neglect, and household dysfunction. And unfortunately, they're all too common. So when we're looking at abuse, we're looking at physical, emotional, and sexual abuse. When we're looking at neglect, we're talking about emotional and physical neglect. When we're looking at household dysfunction, we're talking about mental illness, substance use, domestic violence, parent incarceration, and divorce. Yes, divorce is an adverse childhood experience, which, as we know, 50% of people are experiencing divorce of their parents. That's just a fact. But what we're really looking at here is how many of these adverse childhood experiences you have experienced. It's important to note that the adverse childhood experiences are those experiences before the age of 18, and they're a cumulative effect. So if you have more of them, 6 or more, then that leads to up to 20 years off of your life. Why? Why, do you ask? Well, that's because trauma or adversity or toxic stress is stored in your body, right? So stress. If you have more adverse childhood experiences, your stress increases, which then leads to your health decreasing. Cortisol levels go up, which is linked to diabetes, can be linked to autoimmune disorders, can be linked to gut health issues. All those types of things are key indicators of trauma and of stress. I know, it's a little bit shocking, right? But the main thing to know is that you can change. You, even though you might have trauma in your body, you can change. Do you like my little brain? I'm not the best drawer. Don't judge me. Drawer? Is that a word? I don't know. So you might ask why. Why would I be at risk of early death if I have increased stress? Well, because the toxic stress in your body manifests in different ways. One is genetic and one is through your different habits, okay? The genetic dispositions of your environment, with epigenetics, we do know that your environment can change the epigenetics, okay? That is how your genes are placed and how they are changing and adapting. Don't quote me on that, not a scientist, but that's generally how it works. It's your gene expression. Epigenetics is gene expression, how your genes are expressed. So if you have genetic predispositions to certain things, stress can increase those dispositions. Okay, then you're looking at your habits. So if you are dealing with stress and trauma in your life, what do you think is going to happen? Do you want to take a guess? You might form some bad habits: substance misuse, drug use, overeating, workaholism, people pleasing. All of those different types of things will add up over time. Okay, for me personally, it was overeating. For those of you who don't know my story, I have lost 40 kilos since learning about the ACE study. When I first heard about the ACE study, I specifically remember it so vividly. I was in a professional learning for teachers. I was a teacher at the time. This is years ago. I was a teacher, and I was sitting there listening to the speaker talk about these adverse childhood experiences. And when they put up the list of 10 on the PowerPoint presentation, I was like, oh my God, I have 7 out of 10 of those. I am going to die. Side note, at the time, my dad had just passed away only weeks before that. And he was in his 60s. He was 67 at the time. And as I went through my grandparents, I was like, they were all in their 60s. All my grandparents passed away in their 60s. My dad just passed away in his 60s. I was nearing 40 at the time, and I was like, oh my goodness, I need to make a massive life change so that I do not die young. And sure enough, I did. And I lost 40 kilos. And now I go to the gym and I'm healthy. And I've worked through my physical trauma that I was carrying, but also the emotional trauma that I was carrying. Hence why I help people transform their trauma to transform their lives. Okay? Now, interestingly, is that a word? That sounds really weird. Interestingly. It sounds weird when you say it. Anyways, interesting to note, Dr. Felitti is the founder, I want to say founder of the ACEs study. I don't know how you would say that. It was his seminal research with the CDC, so the Center for Disease Control, and Kaiser Permanente in the 90s. And this study actually was inspired by his work in an obesity clinic. Felitti worked in an obesity clinic where he met a woman who had lost 200 pounds over the course of 12 months. Phenomenal. They were all like, oh my goodness, this is amazing. We're going to be rich. We've done it. We've taught people how to lose massive amounts of weight in 12 months. Okay? So she lost weight in 12 months. But then she gained 37 pounds in the matter of 2 weeks, which before that point, they thought was physiologically impossible. So Felitti was like, why did this woman who just lost 200 pounds, why would she gain back 37 pounds in the course of 2 weeks? And when he dug deeper and was asking and was probing around of what exactly happened there, she told him a story. You know what she told him? She told him that when she was at work, because she had lost the weight, an older man had sexually propositioned her, and that triggered a memory of hers of when her grandfather used to sexually abuse her. So that was the first time trauma was actually linked to health, and it was phenomenal. So in the 90s, they found this link, and then all of the trauma research from there builds off of these adverse childhood experiences study. This is the study that was foundational to all of the trauma research we do now, okay? And the link was in an obesity clinic. So I found that really interesting from my own personal story. All right, so that's the basics of the adverse childhood experiences. There are 10 of them. If you have more than 6, you're at high risk. If you even have a few, you might want to consider unpacking that trauma. If you're unsure whether or not you have trauma in your life and you want to know more, I've made a free self-discovery journal, and I'll put it in the link below. You can have a look and check that out and work through that to discover a little bit more about your own life and your own journey. All right, so what is the most important point to know about adverse childhood experiences? Well, adverse childhood experiences, aka trauma, get stored in the body. As Bessel van der Kolk says, I don't know if you know Bessel van der Kolk's book, highly recommend it, Body Keeps the Score by Bessel van der Kolk. Trauma is stored in the body. So if trauma is stored in the body, it gets stored through stress, which is built up through your past, going into your health of the present moment, leading to the future of early death. That is not what we want. So we have past, present in your body, future does not look bright. But as I said before, you can change your life. You can change your life. You can change your life by working through your trauma, bringing down your cortisol levels, bringing down your stress levels. If there's one main thing that I want you to take out of this video, it is that the past does not have to define your future, because you can change. You can change your life. You can shift your life, work out your trauma, and transform your life. So there are 3 main things that I really love to help get trauma out of my body. Because as we know, as I said before, I have a score of 7 out of 10, but I've worked through that. And over the course of the last few years, I've been doing a few different things. And my 3 main things that I found worked for me were affirmations to re-script my mind, journaling to reflect on how I'm feeling and to actually name my feelings, because you need to name your feelings to tame your feelings. You actually need to understand your feelings as an observer. And then the third one is meditation. Again, they're all kind of linked. Meditation goes into your relaxed state. And I have some guided meditations as well, so you can check those out if you want to. If this video resonates for you, click the like button, put a comment down below what you actually like the most, what you want to hear more about, and subscribe so that I know that this content is actually useful for you and I'll know what to make more of in the future. All right. So thank you for being here today. Keep showing up for yourself and remember that you are a beautiful soul that shines light into the world.